Nigeria stands today at a defining crossroads. For years, millions of citizens have demanded something different. Not just another politician, not another recycled promise, but a leader capable of rebuilding trust, restoring economic confidence, and uniting a deeply divided nation. And as the political landscape ahead of 2027 continues to unfold, one reality is becoming increasingly clear. The race may eventually narrow into a direct contest between continuity and change. With the growing legal and internal complications surrounding the ADC coalition, many analysts now believe that Atiku Abubakar may face enormous obstacles in mounting a strong presidential challenge. If that happens, the political battlefield could transform into a true two-horse race. And in that race, Peter Obi stands in a uniquely powerful position. Why? Because Peter Obi represents more than a political party. He represents a movement. In 2023, despite lacking the traditional political structure controlled by old political establishments, Obi shocked the nation. He energized young Nigerians, inspired professionals, attracted first-time voters, and built support across ethnic and religious lines in a way rarely seen in modern Nigerian politics. Millions of Nigerians saw in him something they had almost forgotten: competence, simplicity, discipline, and accountability. Now imagine what happens in 2027 if the opposition becomes more consolidated. Imagine what happens if protest votes are no longer scattered across multiple strong candidates. Imagine what happens if frustrated Nigerians decide they can no longer afford another cycle of hardship, inflation, insecurity, and unemployment. That possibility alone makes Peter Obi one of the most formidable political figures heading into 2027. But beyond elections and political calculations lies the more important question: what kind of president could Peter Obi become? Supporters believe his greatest strength is economic management. During his time as governor of Anambra State, Obi consistently emphasized fiscal discipline, savings, investment in education, and infrastructure development. He built a reputation for prudence in government spending, a quality many Nigerians believe is desperately needed at the federal level today. Nigeria's greatest challenge is not simply politics. It is economic survival. Families are struggling. Businesses are collapsing. The naira remains under pressure. Youth unemployment continues to rise. Many Obi supporters believe he would prioritize production over consumption, investing heavily in agriculture, technology, manufacturing, and small businesses instead of relying almost entirely on oil revenues. And perhaps most importantly, Peter Obi's political image has remained strongly connected to transparency and modest living. At a time when public trust in leadership is dangerously low, that image matters. But there is another dimension that could make a major difference in 2027. The possible partnership between Peter Obi and Rabiu Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso remains one of the most influential political figures in northern Nigeria, especially among grassroots voters. His political network and popularity across key northern states could provide the regional balance needed to build a truly national coalition. A Peter Obi and Kwankwaso alliance would be politically significant for several reasons. First, it could bridge regional divides between North and South. Second, it could attract both youths and traditional grassroots political structures. Third, it could create a broader national conversation centered on competence, education, security, and economic rebuilding. Supporters of such an alliance believe it would send a strong message that Nigeria's future should no longer be controlled by old rivalries and ethnic suspicion, but by shared national interests. Of course, challenges remain. Winning a Nigerian presidential election is never easy. Political structures are powerful. Incumbency carries influence. Regional interests remain deeply entrenched. And critics of Peter Obi still question whether his popularity online can fully translate into nationwide electoral dominance. But one thing cannot be denied. The political energy around him has not disappeared. If anything, economic hardship and public frustration may be strengthening the desire for an alternative leadership style. Many Nigerians, especially the younger generation, are no longer merely asking who can win elections. They are asking who can rebuild hope, who can stabilize the economy, who can reduce corruption, who can create jobs, who can restore confidence in Nigeria both locally and internationally. For millions of supporters, Peter Obi represents a possible answer to those questions. And if 2027 truly becomes a direct contest between continuity and reform, between old political structures and a new national movement, then the path to Aso Rock may become more open than ever before. The coming months will shape alliances, define strategies, and test political strength across the country. But one thing is certain. The 2027 election may become one of the most consequential elections in Nigeria's democratic history. And in that historic contest, Peter Obi's name will remain at the very center of the national conversation.